This is Jack, and I'm speaking of UFOs revealed. Okay, so I've spoken about in previous interviews about the history of mankind regarding the gravitation manifestation of Earth. On that topic, specific gravitation, I will be going in more specifically and answering many questions that are probably being asked. But for now, let's go to UFOs, which is part of the gravitation placement I described in previous history of mankind interviews. So what happened was UFOs were interdimensional, okay? Yet they did hover or place themselves on Earth when they wanted to come and either check up, or it was mostly the Anunnaki, and then the Sumerians were also here, the Syrians, and the serpents. Many actually came and checked up on Earth in their spaceships, UFOs, but they were only able to maintain their UFOs or their spaceships for a limited amount of time, because what would happen is that their spaceships, or the UFOs, or whatever you want to refer to it, would start manifesting because of the gravitational pull that exists within this world and existence. Why would that happen? Remember that there's no open spaces in this world. When you're standing next to a human being and there's that space between you, that's not an empty space. That is actually that which exists in between everything, which consists actually of manifested expressions of this universe, be it molecules, little atoms, air. You know what air consists of. So when the spaceships actually come here into our existence on Earth, they use, hear me out, they use that which exists in this existence here on Earth, the spaces in between, to be able to manifest their spaceship to land here. Okay, but what do I mean by manifest? Not manifest as in indefinitely, manifest for a moment, just a moment. Just for a moment, and then they're able to move out again interdimensionally. But if they stay too long, their ships actually do manifest completely, and they don't have interdimensional access anymore. So, in terms of UFOs, they do exist, okay? But now governments, etc., have about 1,500 of them, around about there. Maybe more, maybe less, around about there, that they have discovered on Earth, and that was because specific beings remained here too long. It was in the beginning, remember this, they didn't realize it until later, and those spaceships had to be left here because they couldn't move out interdimensionally. But it's interesting though, the beings themselves didn't manifest, just the spaceships. To that I'll get later. Now, because the spaceships were also made of materials of this Earth plane and of planets in the solar system or in existence, because it was made of that, the spaceships or the UFOs will manifest together with the planets and the existence in the solar system, etc., because it is of this, when it is within the atmosphere of the solar system or Earth or whatever, because it's connecting to and forming relationships. And when that relationships connect between what the spaceship consists of, or the UFO, and what the Earth's atmosphere consists of, it starts gravitational pulling, and this spaceship or the UFO actually starts manifesting. So, but in terms of the UFOs flying around today, those are government creations. And by the way, the governments and what technology consists of now, there was no way you could actually duplicate or copy specifically how these spaceships actually look like. The technology is just way too advanced for human mind conception. So they played around with a bit of ideas, you know, and they manifested these spaceships according to the most simplest form of expression. So human beings, hear me, spaceships you see today is not real visitors from outer space planets, because such outer space planets and beings referred to as aliens don't exist anymore. They were interdimensional. They weren't manifested. Hear me. The only manifested beings in this existence is human beings. All spaceships were also interdimensionally, except that, you know, in the beginning when they started moving within and throughout Earth, they realized, oh my God, our spaceships are manifesting, we can't allow this. No, then they checked on the time frame. So basically they tested out, you know, they actually had spaceships come, or UFOs, or whatever you want to refer to it as, and then they check out the relationship signature of how the spaceship connect with the atmospheric realm of Earth, and they'd see how much time they'd have. Usually they only have about 3 to 7 days, depending on how big the spaceship is, or the UFO is. Usually 3 months. They were huge ones. Huge ships, beautiful stuff, I must say, but, you know, that's quite irrelevant, and you'll understand later in this process why spaceships are, because it's merely advanced technology reflecting the advanced technology of mind consciousness systems inside beings in existence. That is not creation at all. No. That is the disgrace of creation, I'd say. But though fascinating, I'd say, you know, it's intriguing, but it's dangerous from the perspective of human beings become so absorbed by UFOs and unexplained spaceships and things like that, and then focus completely somewhere out there about something, someone else who's more intelligent and more highly developed in intelligence and wisdom than you, human beings, when actually human beings' abilities are equal and one with all of existence. But I'm not reflecting it to UFOs or spaceships. So, spaceships did manifest here on Earth, and the governments have them, and they basically built spaceships to duplicate or copy as much as they could possibly that which they have found, and they're using it to basically fuck with people, to keep people busy, and focusing on unidentified flying objects instead of realizing what the fuck is going on in this world. So I say the governments have got very, very extensive in their ability to divert attention. So maybe I should actually do an interview about attention diversion by governments, show you all those points, because they're masters in doing so. I mean, how many people are trying to figure out and find out about UFOs and things like that when they're actually government designed, and the governments have the real ones that they can't actually completely copy and duplicate. So, be careful that your attention doesn't be diverted about what's actually going on in this world. Thank you. This is Jack.